This is one of my favorite styles, extra special bitters. Here's the secret. There's nothing bitter about them.
There's 1.2 million homebrewers in America. I'll tell you how you can become 1.2 million and one.
He's Andrew Coligan, beermonger at Coligan Brewing Company. I'm Glen Macnow. We're at Bald Birds Brewing Company in Audubon for a new episode of What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Monco Maker's Passport. Download your free digital pass and sip your way through Montgomery County. By the Conshohocken Brewing Company, featuring 4 locations and available at beer retailers throughout the tri-state area. And by support from the Pennsylvania Malt and Brewed Beverage Industry Promotion Board and grant funding from the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board.
Hey, welcome to What's Brewing. I'm Glen Macnow, joined by my pal Andrew Coligan, Grand Poobah, bottle washer, floor sweeper, all of those things at Conshohocken Brewing Company. We're at the Bald Birds Brewing Company in Audubon, our second trip to this place. Love it, love the beer, love the atmosphere. In fact, we're going to start with our beer swap. I am drinking the Champion-style German Pilsner. It's the year of the Pilsner, and this is a really good one at 4.7%. What about you?
Love it. I'm having the playoff push pale ale, one of my favorite styles.
Very nice. All right. So, one of the styles that we're going to swap today and gets a bad name because of its name is the extra special bitters. So, I brought you this one, which is the Yards. Extra special. So this one, by the way, let me pour you one of these. Yard says this is our first and most beloved brew. I did not know that.
An absolutely Philadelphia classic from Yards Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Their ESA is synonymous with local craft beer in Philly.
Yeah, and this is the one they started making 30 years ago. It helped establish them. They're for cask brewing in the United States in 1990. And here's what I want to ask you. It uses East Kent Golding hops, which they say dates back, British-inspired hops, it dates back to the 90s. So this beer's got some good tradition in it.
The 1790s,
The 70s, yes, that's what I meant to say. Yes.
Way back.
Those 90s. Yes, the George Washington 90s, excuse me.
I'll tell you what, just a classic English ale. Mild,
Love it.
malty, smooth.
Mild, malty, smooth.
Indeed.
Notice the adjectives he didn't use. All right, what'd you bring me?
I brought you our baby at Conshohocken Brewing Company, Puddler's Row. It's our ESB, back-to-back silver medal winner at the World Beer Cup. It's malty, it's roasty, you get a little bit of caramel and nutty, toffee, sweetness.
Love this beer.
It might be my favorite beer to drink from us. It's right up there, and it's one of our favorites.
Now, one of the things that we may notice about this beer, if you hand me the can here for a second,
Indeed, yes,
is it says Puddler's Row, Conshohocken Brewing Company, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't say ESB. It doesn't say bitter. It is an ESB. First, let's try this delicious thing.
Indeed, an all-season ale is how we would position it.
Yes. And it's great. I love this beer. I love this. Look at this. I love this style.
Yeah.
But it gets a bad rap because of the name. Explain, why is it called bitter when it's not bitter?
Well, I'll tell you what. Way back 100 years ago in England, when they were brewing these English milds, they started to add a little bit more hops to them, and they came up with the style and a bitter, a classic English bitter. Today's standards, though, it's actually not bitter at all.
No.
So, no.
There's the old thing, bitter beer face guy in the commercial.
You've got minty fresh breath and you're oozing charm. Then it hits you.
Larry?
Oh, bitter beer face!
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do it. That's as good as I can do it. This is not that.
Not at all. So that word has a pretty nasty connotation, unfortunately, but this is not bitter. It's malty.
It's malty.
Indeed.
Define, sorry to interrupt your beer drinking, define malty for me.
So malty, let's call it the antithesis of bitter or hoppy. So it's sweet. You get notes of nuttiness and caramel and toffee. It's just easy drinking and mild, and it's not bitter at all.
Okay, so we call this Puddler's Row, and Yards, I'm noticing, calls this ESA, not ESB. What's
Extra
that?
special ale, and I got it from a good authority, the Rick at Yards, who told me that Tom didn't think anyone would want a craft
Tom being
beer.
Tom Keogh, the head guy over there, yeah.
Indeed, the man that started the company,
Yeah.
yeah. people that wouldn't want a bitter. So we put ale on it because consumers were already familiar with Bass Ale and Red Ale and all those ales.
I'm telling you folks, try this style. Don't be scared off by the word. So we brought in some of the best ones around, and we're gonna just kind of put them up here. I love this one. This is Crumpet by Willow Rock Brewing out in Colorado. I love it just because of the picture and the name. Tonewood out of New Jersey makes this EMD English Mild Ale. I think this one checks in at just 3.8%.
Extremely
We bring
mild.
5 or 6 of these things.
And just shy of a bitter, so even less hoppy than an ESB.
We got too many to even mention, so I'm going to put them up here. This one made by made in collaboration with Iron Maiden.
For sure.
You get your hard rock while you get that stuff. And I know you're a fan of Forest and Maine. You brought in some of their stuff.
When you talk about English ales around the Philadelphia area, you have to mention Forest and Maine.
Okay, so we asked our viewers to tell us styles they think are underrated, because this one you and I agree is an underrated style. Here's some of the ones we got on social media. By the way, follow me at Real Glen Macnow on Twitter. The show is at What's Brewing. Did they reach you? Did they want to reach you?
At Andrew Coligan.
There you go. Doom, find them.
Simple.
So here's what people told us are underrated. Barley wines,
Now, one of my favorites. See, you're already poo-pooing it.
porters, Pilsner. I don't think Pilsners are underrated. Are Pilsners underrated?
Maybe when you compare it to an IPA, which is so dominant, but still, one of my
Right,
favorites.
if IPA grabs all the attention, I guess everything is. Kolsch, cream ales,
Your favorite.
Baltic porters, and pumpkins. Andrew Coligan, what to you is an underrated style?
Well, I tell you what, speaking of this playoff push pale ale, I really think pale ales, because unfortunately they just get grouped in with IPAs all the time, and many people are actually drinking pale ales, but they're actually being marketed and positioned as IPAs because of that style.
And it's a really good classic style. That's a good point. They are.
kidding.
I think they are underrated. Anyway, when we come back, as you heard, homebrewing was legalized 45 years ago on October 14th, right as this show is running. So we're going to show you how you can get started in it. From Bald Birds Brewing Company in Audubon, Andrew Coligan, Glen Macnow, What's Brewing?
When you vacation in Montgomery County, PA, your money worries get a vacation too.
Oh, you gotta get your value.
Feel free to explore the soldiers' huts.
Free?
$4, that's it? Keep the lettuce coming, Diane.
Parking is free!
Hey, it's free!
With so many affordable things in Montgomery County, go ahead. Freak out.
Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing. I'm Glen Macnow, joined, of course, by Andrew Coligan here at Bald Birds Brewing Company. Our guest here, Matt Talbot. Matt is the president emeritus of the South Jersey Fermentation Club. That's a big deal. By the way, I'm drinking the Pigeon Wedge Hazy IPA. Look at that, baby. Comes in at 5.5%. What do you got there, Andrew?
I'm having just a couple. Well, hopefully a couple of just a couple.
Oh, there you go. And Matt, what do you got?
I have the Der Vogel Fest beer.
All right, so here's the story. This show drops on October 14th. You may be watching it then. If you are, raise a toast to Jimmy Carter, former president, and to former California Senator Alan Cranston, because on this day in 1978, President Carter signed a bill that allowed for the federal legalization of homebrewing. Why wasn't it legal before that? A lot of reasons, which is coming out of Prohibition, a lot of people made rot gut in their house, and Congress thought, like, this is really unhealthy. They didn't let people do it. After a while, Senator Cranston realized a lot of people can have a great hobby, can save some money, can develop their skills. So he snuck it into a transportation bill while nobody was looking. Voila! We can make our own beer. And how many people do it now in the country?
About 1.2 million.
Amazing. And you're one of them. So here's the question I have for both of you guys. Andrew, I'll start with you. Somebody wants to get started. A lot of people watching this show think, like, I'd love to get started in that. Absolutely. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. How do they do that?
I'd say number one, start with reading a good book. This might be off subject, but
that's a fine book.
Pick up a good book, right? So this is the Homebrewer's Companion, The Joy of Homebrewing by the, let's call it the godfather of homebrewing in America, Charlie Papazian.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites also about Radical Brewing by Randy Mosher. I know, Matt, you have a couple favorites?
How to Brew by John Palmer changed my life. Brewing Classic Styles by Zamil Janishev.
Nice.
And fantastic book.
Okay, so I buy the book, I read the book, and then I imagine I go to my local homebrewing store. So what's a starter kit?
Starter kit could be anything. It could be as simple as a pot and a bucket or a jug, or you can spend...
I got a bucket at home.
You can do that. Food grade, preferably.
Okay.
And it has to be clean. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. But you can get set up for $100 or less, and that includes pot, bucket, yeast, and ingredients.
Okay, so I'm thinking, I got my pot, my bucket, I got my yeast, I got my ingredients. Andrew?
Yes.
In no time at all, I'm turning out what, a triple strength hazy blueberry saison? What do we got going
I'll tell you what, that's a pretty adventurous
Probably
start
is,
into it, but
yeah.
if you're going into your local homebrew shop, Philly Homebrew Outlet, a couple of the great guys locally, they're a lot of times going to direct you to a kit that has a pre-made batch of ingredients, a lot of times using malt extract that's a starter for, let's say, some classic basic styles. A pale ale, an ESB, an IPA, just easier styles that aren't so crazy with triple IPAs and blueberries. But
All right, how pricey, Matt, to do this?
Well, it can be as little as, like I said, $100 or so, or it can be, believe me, as expensive as your better half will let you.
I guess here's my question. Here's my question. Is it going to end up costing me more to make this at home than enjoying this delicious beer right here?
Well, you have to think of it as it's a hobby, right? So just like anything else, you can, again, put as much into it as you'd like.
Yeah.
You're not going to save money making beer, but what you're doing is investing in skills, a hobby, a community, and all those things that are associated with the joy of making beer.
So you are the president emeritus of the South Jersey Brewing Company. Andrew, you said one real smart thing to do is join a club.
Unquestionably, yeah. So after I joined my local, went to my local homebrew shop, it was BYOB in Westmont, I got word of this local homebrew club, which was called Barley Legal Homebrewers at the time. It was 13 years ago. It was one of the best times of my life. I started just diving into the craft beer scene, started making my own beer at home, got introduced to this fantastic group of guys and gals so we could meet every month at the Iron Hill Maple Shade, thanks to our friend Chris LaPierre. Have some beers, taste some beers, and make some friends.
Share the joy of the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
Matt, you brought your own stuff. We get to try some of this stuff while we're talking about it? What do we got here?
How could we not? And this is what? Your pale ale?
This is a pale ale.
I see that we recycle Grolsch bottles is what we do, eh?
Well, hey, listen, homebrewers are very, a bunch that likes to try and use whatever they can
Yeah,
find.
okay. So I'm sorry, what are we drinking?
This is just a classic American pale ale.
And you made this?
Yes.
Okay, nice.
One thing about homebrewing, it is time consuming. With my little girl turning 3, it definitely takes a little more time. I don't get to brew as much as I would like to, but it's glad to see that guys in our club can get out and brew as much as possible.
You have a favorite style you like to brew?
English pale ales and American pale ales.
There you go.
Honestly, I'm starting to explore a lot into clean lagers now.
This is really good.
Thank you.
All right, so here's one of my challenges. Andrew, I'm pretty good at art.
Sure.
And I'm pretty good at cooking on the grill in my house. I splash together a lot of ingredients and it works. What I'm not really good at ever has been baking, which is a very exact science. Make sure you have the same amount of yeast in this.
Absolutely.
Is this more of an art or more of a science?
I don't know. I like to always say that's a little bit of both, but I would definitely say it lends, and I think Matt would agree, tends to be a little bit more on that baking side of things. You want to get the science down and then start to express yourself with the artistic of using different ingredients. Matt talks about how you should try and brew a smash beer maybe as your first style.
Yeah, single malt, single hop. That way you get to keep your process simple, ingredients simple. You learn about the different components that you're brewing with, and you can make a great beer.
All right, so Matt, somebody wants to get started in this, wants to join the club. How do they find you guys?
So SouthJerseyFermentationClub.com will bring you to our website. Come to a meeting, check it out. There are other clubs in the area, so that's in the South Jersey area. I know there are some in the Philadelphia area as well.
A tremendous amount. Yeah, we've featured a bunch of them on the show before, so absolutely.
Great. Okay, terrific. Guys, great stuff. I appreciate it. Keep it up. 1.2 million?
Sure, and maybe more
now.
now.
You can be 1.2 million and one. Think about that. That's a fun way to go into the future. All right, coming up, we're going to take you to this week's photo challenge, a fun contest we've been having. We're at Bald Birds Brewing Company in Audubon. I'm sticking with this one. For What's Brewing.
Hey, Ben. Sorry, Glenn?
Hi, Andrew Coligan, purveyor of fine Conshohocken Brewing Company beer. I find myself in a bit of a quandary, Andrew. I love Conshohocken Brewing Company beer, but which one is my favorite? Ooh, I do love Type A IPA.
Our #1 selling beer for a reason.
Yes, and Hazy Life Coach IPA. Oh, this one is delicious.
Hazy, juicy goodness.
Wonderful, and who wouldn't love that? Who doesn't love Ring the Bell American Lager?
The perfect choice to pair with our Philly sports teams or anytime.
You know what? I think it's Ring the Bell for me, but now the question is, what's the right quantity?
I think I might have something perfect for you. Ring the Bell 12-pack.
Why, you've nailed it. Now available in convenient 12-ounce 12-packs at any beer store near you. This is wonderful. But how will all of this fit on the back of my horse? Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing. We're Bald Birds Brewing Company in Audubon, where I'm enjoying a Kenya Dig It, love the name of this, coffee ale, Kenya Kenya, coffee ale. It's a coffee cream ale. It's like
Sounds
two
right
of
up
my
your
favorites.
alley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
What about you?
I'm having the Bird Fest, rather.
This is good.
Perfect timing with this one, and my favorite style of glass, a nice dimpled mug. Too.
Oh, I love a dimple mug. Okay, by the way, Bald Birds Brewing Company is part of Montco Makers. Sign up for the Montco Makers Passport, a free mobile pass that will take you to the best breweries, distilleries, and craft beverage producers in Valley Forge and Montgomery County. The best part, check in during your visit for a chance to win great prizes. Speaking of win great prizes, it's time for the announcements of this week's winner of our photo contest. And this week we did a picture of you with a label in a foreign language. Now, I got to reiterate, when we do these things, make sure you're in the picture, because, to be honest, we found out that people were just Googling beer labels. Not good.
Tisk.
So this week's winners are, congratulations, Kevin Quinn. This is Kevin here. He says, I've been living in Belgium and traveling all over Europe. This one is from Plitvice Lakes National Park in Croatia.
Yeah, that's pretty unique.
Deborah Vedetto Morse, this is a picture of Tom Morse, maybe her husband, drinking beer in the Galapagos.
How about that?
Who do you know who's from the Galapagos?
The Fanatic, of course.
There you go.
Come on
Good
now.
work.
And his whole team.
I like it. And Brian Fiend
Gang.
says, I tried several Greek beers this summer. Here are some of the labels. They have limited selections of light lagers and pilsners. Don't go to Greece for the beer. All right. This week, the contest is, I want to see multi-generational pictures. I want to see you drinking beer with your dad, your granddad, your kid, your grandmom. Andrew, look at that. What is this? A picture of you here.
Oh,
Look
this
at
is
that.
wonderful. This is a family trip that we just took last month in Maine. This is in Kennebunkport at Noonan's Lobster Hut.
Wow, you got the whole mishpucha there.
I'll
Lots
tell you
of
what,
generations.
my mom, all enjoying some Allagash White and some Shipyard Export. It was beer, family, what more could you
That's a
ask
pretty
for?
nice trip. Send them to me on social media. I'm at Real Glen Macnow on Twitter, Glen Macnow on Facebook, or send them to the show at What's Brewing PA. All right, a couple stories we want to get into here. We talked a couple weeks ago about how Penn State now actually is allowing craft beer into the stadium. I don't know if they're allowing this one in, but look at this label. This is Buckeye Tears beer.
Wow, aggressive.
Andrew, a dozen breweries out in, I guess, western PA
Sure.
got together. All these breweries, by the way, owned by Penn State alum. They joined forces to share the love of IPAs and Penn State's rival with Ohio State, and created this beer. Your thoughts?
I'll tell you what, it's a pretty cool thing. Obviously, a massive Penn State network around our area in Pennsylvania, so it's nice that they can join forces. And listen, no rooting interest either way, but if they can make a beer to take down Ohio State as a Rutgers man, I'm completely okay with that.
There you go. They said, no, obviously no harm is meant. We just think Buckeye Tears is the perfect name for a beer that will honor Penn State heading to the national championship in 2023. Okay, by the way, those two teams play October 21st, so next weekend in Columbus.
1 week.
Here's another story. I loved this story. I want your take on this. This goes back away to the spring, but I haven't had the chance to use it. J.J. Watt, great player, retired this year, future Hall of Famer, Arizona Cardinals, graduate of University of Wisconsin, went to his school's graduation, was a speaker there, also a beer guy, and he decided, I should buy a beer for every graduating student here at Camp Randall Stadium.
Oh, I'm sure they couldn't find him anywhere else, so might as well get one bought for him, right?
Which is, I don't know, it's a big school, 10,000 kids. By the way, you can tell me this. He wanted to buy them his favorite New Gloucester Spotted Cow Farmhouse Ale.
New Glarus, yeah,
New
absolutely.
Glarus,
Maybe the quintessential brewery in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I wish we can get their stuff in Philadelphia, but they
Yeah, I've
sell
never
so
had it.
darn much in Wisconsin, they don't have to send it outside the state.
So unfortunately, the university shot him down, citing legal issues. J.J. Watt tried to come up with a compromise that would instead allow every student to get a free beer at the student union bar.
There you go. It's not too bad.
They shot that down too.
Well, maybe we can pay for their tuitions, but
So-
that might be a little bit of a bigger bill there. You know?
Yes, I imagine so. To me, J.J. Watt is a bit of a hero, so in your retirement, we salute you.
Yeah, and thanks for sporting beer, especially great local beer like New Glarus.
There you go. All right, coming up, we are going to check in with the fine owners of this establishment, find out what they are up to, some of the beers they're making, some of their events. We're at Bald Birds Brewing Company in Audubon, PA, not Audubon, New Jersey. Make sure you get that right. He's Andrew Coligan. I'm Glen Macnow. The show, of course, is What's Brewing. Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing. I'm Glen Macnow. Andrew Coligan is my guest host this week. This is Abby Farrar, co-owner of Bald Birds Brewing. What do you got there, Abby?
I have our side text Kolsch today.
Nice, love a Kolsch. Now, I have these two Oktoberfests, which you're gonna explain to me the difference in a moment, but first, let's explain something. I think we should all, there we go. Andrew, what's wrong with you?
Whoops.
Odd man out. All right.
Blessed with the gift of hair.
This is
but
why
not,
they call it Bald Birds, right? Feels good. Very low maintenance.
It is. Save
Love
a lot
it.
of money on
it's a
shampoo.
look, I'll tell you what.
That's
honestly.
right.
Hey.
That's right. All right, Abby, I have two Oktoberfests here that you are doing both of them.
We are.
All right, explain the difference here. What do we got?
We have our Oktoberfest, Oktoberfest.
Fantastic,
This
by the
baby
way.
in the dimpled
I'm
mug?
finishing
This
mine.
is
I
the
didn't get a new one, so I
Martzen
love it.
style,
Mm-hmm.
more traditional, old school, darker, higher ABV, traditionally
Yeah.
malty.
Nice.
And then we have Der Vogel, which is our fest beer made at our location in central Pennsylvania. And that one is a little bit lighter, as you can see, a little
Andrew,
bit lower
hello.
ABV.
Please, thank you.
Yeah.
Same malty sweetness that you expect, but
If you're going to Oktoberfest in Germany, this is what you're drinking. They haven't done this in a couple decades now.
Yeah.
And American brewers still love it, and personally, I love it too. But this is if you need to have, let's call them 10 or so liters Oktoberfest, Been there, done that. This is the one that you want to drink a couple of.
Well, I like them both. I got to tell you, I think I'm a little partial to this. I do. I do like that style. Anything in a dimple mug like that, I like also. All right, let's talk about some of the things that you've got going, including something in my neighborhood, Havertown. Big plans.
we do, yeah. In addition to Bald Birds,
Yep.
we also have a distillery called Four Birds. We have a location down in Havertown. We actually had a fire there in April, so we lost the building.
yeah.
And we are rebuilding and hoping to open again by the end of this year.
So it's going to be a full distillery. People come in, sit,
It
enjoy.
will be a bar and tap room. We'll have
Yeah.
a restaurant. Our partners at Sophie's Barbecue, which is a local
Ooh.
barbecue joint. They're wonderful.
By the way, good ribs.
Yeah.
I've had them. Yeah.
And so they'll be running the kitchen for us, and we'll have a full bar with craft cocktails. We'll sell Bald Birds beer there as well, and we're very excited to bring it back.
I think that's great. And you know what? As somebody who lives in Havertown, more places coming in, love seeing that.
Hey, cocktails, beer, barbecue, can't go wrong with that. Sounds fantastic.
So what are you
to
going
me.
to, vodka, gin, what are you going to
We
make?
do a vodka, a rum,
Mm-hmm.
bourbon, and we just launched an agave spirit, so we have our own tequila version,
Where'd
basically.
you get all these skills?
We have a great team of people that do the most wonderful things for us.
Is Pat Countryman doing the distilling for you too? Is he helping out with that?
Pat is brewing here in Audubon, and
How
then
about
we
that?
have a separate distilling team out in Jersey Shore.
I'll tell
All
you
right,
what.
so this is, excuse me, this is Andrew's personal agenda. You guys have a history?
We did. We used to work together at Macnow Brewing Company in years, Pat, and Pat's parents, Jim and Joan Countryman. Joan is home brewing royalty in South Jersey. She is one of the most active and most awesome home brewers in and around the Philadelphia and South Jersey area. So I had to give a shout out. Then they made some fantastic children, Pat being one of them, a couple of which are now brewing and distilling in the industry. So it's a very cool thing.
Okay, I love your location here in Audubon. I know you have a couple special events coming up.
Yeah, I think the one that we'd like to talk about is our trunk or treat coming up at the end of the month here on October 29th. In our parking lot, we set up a nice little trunk or treat opportunity for the community. Folks bring their kids out in costume. We have some contests, great beers, big fun.
Nice. One of the things that I just want to get back to the Oktoberfest, because I think you told me that it's not just any old water that you use in this thing, right?
In our Jersey Shore location, the water comes straight out of the Pine Creek Gorge. So it is the clearest, crispest, most, I think, pure water you can get around the area, and we love it. We think it makes some tremendous beers.
Great beer needs great water. That's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
So very important.
Some of your beers we had, I let it go. Darn it, I was enjoying it. Because not a lot of places make a good coffee beer, and this, what was it called? Kenya Dig It? What was it called?
Kenya Dig It.
Kenya Dig It, I got it right, there you go. Tell me about that beer, because I really enjoyed it.
We partner with our friends at Valerio Coffee Roasters, which is in the same corporate park where we are now, and they bring over their freshly roasted, cold brewed coffee concentrate, and we joined it up with our cream ale, and we've done a few variations. We've done the Kenya, we've done an Ethiopian version, so they've always got something cool roasting for us, and then we brew it up.
But I like that you, I'm sorry, Andrew, I like that you do it with a cream ale as opposed to, I've had a million coffee stouts in my life. It's a little bit of a different thing, and I really like it.
I find there's a lot of friends when it comes to brewing coffee or roasting coffee, brewing beer. They tend to go rather hand in hand. So a lot of really tight friendships in that.
Yeah, it's a nice way to have a partnership. Andrew, I know there's something that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, just having talking with Matt, our buddy from a South Jersey Fermentation Club. The club actually has an event coming up in Oakland on November 4th. It's our fall beer fest and food drive benefiting the food bank of South Jersey. So drink some great beers, support a great cause in South Jersey. So hopefully everybody can make it out.
All right, so Abby, tell me, people want to come out to Bald Birds. How do they find it? When are you open? What are we going to eat? Give me a little 30 seconds on what we got.
Wednesday through Sunday, 4 p.m. to 9 or 10 on weekdays, 12 to 10 on weekends. BaldBirdsBrewing.com, at Bald Birds Brewing on all the socials. We have the guys from Sophie's Barbecue running our food truck for us right now, so you can come out and get some great ribs, some great beer, and
We got a pulled
yourself.
pork sandwich on that menu?
Yeah, it's really good.
We do have that. What beer would you have with the pulled pork sandwich?
I might actually go with the coffee cream ale, because it's just with the barbecue sauce and all of that.
You know what?
It's a perfect combination.
That's a fine evening. Anyway, listen, we're delighted to be back here. Thank you so much for hosting us. You should find this place. We go to a lot of places. This is one that every time we're here, I really enjoy. Their beer is great. Their mood is great. It's a terrific place. So thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Andrew, thanks for co-hosting today,
As always,
man.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Always a pleasure. And we hope that maybe you got a little bit on home brewing. Give it a try. Seems like something that you would enjoy. Anyway, thanks to everybody for watching. We'll be back next week with an all-new episode of What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Monco Maker's Passport. Download your free digital pass and sip your way through Montgomery County. By the Conshohocken Brewing Company, featuring 4 locations and available at beer retailers throughout the tri-state area. And by support from the Pennsylvania Malt and Brewed Beverage Industry Promotion Board and grant funding from the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board.